Hey guys, this is awesome. You've made it this far. Today we're going to be learning about functions, and functions are amazing. And they're kind of hard for some people to grasp initially because their purpose isn't immediately apparent, but I will keep it as simple as I can for you guys. So let's jump straight into it. Functions are ways for us to name certain bits of code so that we can use it later on. So, just to keep everything really simple, I'll just show you one. So the way we start making a function is we have to define it. So you say def, and you give it the name of the function. So this can be whatever you want to call it. I'll say say name, and then I'm gonna put these parentheses here and a colon and hit enter. And now this is where I can actually do stuff. So just like for loops, just like if statements, once you see this colon, that means you need to start indenting stuff. And when you stop indenting, that means you're no longer typing in this function in this case. So everything in this function has to be indented at least once. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I want this function to print my name. So that's it. That is my first function. So now if I run this, you can see nothing happens. And the reason is because you can make a function, but that code isn't ran until you tell Python to run that code. So the way you do that is you type the name of the function with parentheses after it. So now if I run this, you can see Kyle actually prints out. So this is called a function call. I am calling a function called sayName. So when Python sees this, it jumps up here and says, I know what sayName is. When you say sayName, I know you want me to do this. So that's why we see that print out. So now what I can do is copy this and just paste it right below. And now Kyle prints out twice. So again, it might not be immediately apparent why this is useful, but stick with me, it's going to get cooler. So wouldn't it be cool if it didn't print Kyle every time? Imagine if I could come down here and say something like Scott here and John here. Wouldn't it be cool if instead it printed out whatever name I told it? Well, we can do that. We just have to change a few things. So this is where parameters come in. So up here in between these parentheses are where parameters go. And if you have multiple, they get spaced by commas or get separated by commas. But basically, parameters are little variables you make that belong to this function. And here's what they do for us. So instead of printing Kyle, I want to print out my parameter. So how does my parameter get its value? It's just a variable with no value right now. Well, down here, when we call sayName, it actually sets this name variable equal to whatever I have in between these parentheses. So when this runs the first time, we say look for a function called sayName, we find it, and it says, oh, it needs some more information. It needs to know what name you want it to say. So here we tell it what name we want it to say. So if we run this, we should see Scott and John print out, and we do. So the last thing we'll do is we'll have it print their name and their age. So looking up at this function, I can say their name if they tell me their name. So likewise, if I ask for their age and they give me their age, then I can say, you know, Scott is 50 years old, John is whatever. So now I'll save us a little bit of time with copy and paste. What I'm going to say is I want to print the person's name is like 50 years old. So right here, just explaining this, age is a number, so I can't add numbers to strings, so I take the string equivalent of their age. So now, if we come down here, we have to tell sayName two things, the name and the age of the person. So I'll put a comma, and I'll say Scott is 50, and John is 42. So now I can run this, and you can see Scott is 50 years old, John is 42 years old. So let's do a quick recap. So we made a function called sayName, and we asked for two things. We asked for a person's name and their age, and we'll print out some string based upon that. So down here, we have this function call. It looks for sayName, which is up here, and we say our name is Scott and our age is 50, and that's why we see Scott is 50 years old. We run that again, except this time our name is John and our age is 42 years old. And that's why you see John is 42 years old print out. So as a quick clarification, I don't want you to think that you can only type, direct data into here. I can just as easily make a variable called, I'll call it my name, and set that equal to Scott. And then replace this with my name. So now I have a variable in here, not just data, and I can run this all the same. So I hope you learned something. Hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.